everyone, I'm Torcaso, and I've been listening to other motivational speakers. And I want to say this to you, with all due respect to a lot of these motivational speakers, their ideas are motivating. Their ideas are valid. Their ideas have changed lives and can change lives and will continue to change lives. But there is a problem in that many times their words are overwhelming, and therefore, because they are overwhelming, even though a man or a woman may be motivated, or a teenager, a young woman or a young man, or even children, they listen and they are motivated, but they do not feel that they can complete the task. So I want to motivate you, if it be God's will. I want to motivate you, but I want to start you on your first steps. And you take your first steps. And as you take your first steps, then you can take the second, the third, the fourth, and the 5,000 or more steps, between 1 and 1,000,000. Who knows? But you can get to the point where everything these motivational speakers say will be have been already completed. I want to take you from the first step and get you started so that you don't feel overcome and overwhelmed. And the best way to do that is to remind you of your childhood, when you first started to walk. Those of you who are blessed to have the ability to walk. As we know, many people are not able to at this time. But those of you who can walk, when you first started to walk, first you had to literally crawl. And then one day, you took your first step. After standing up, you were able to stand up. That was really your first step. And then you finally were able to walk with help. And then you were finally able to walk on your own. But you had to take your first step. So I want you to take your first step. Because I know that if you take your first step and you keep taking little steps, even if you have to take your first step 1,000 times, but you keep taking it, you will eventually reach your destination. You will have your mission completed. You will have your goals. You will have your dreams. Now, many motivational speakers will say what I've just said to you, but have at least another 5 to 50 minutes before they get to the actual action they want you to apply. But I'm not going to do that. What I want you to do is I want you to tell yourself what your dream is. Now, the next thing I want you to do is say, I am that person. I am whatever it is. Let's say you want to be an officer, a police officer. I am a police officer. Let's say you want to be a neurosurgeon. I don't want you to say, I want to be, I'm going to be, I hope to be. Those are neutral words. We're not saying that anymore. You say, I am a neurosurgeon. If you want to be a writer, I am a writer. I am a producer. I am a talk show host. I am a podcaster. I am a doctor. I am an attorney. I am a world-class athlete. I am one of the greatest boxing champions of all time. I am whatever it is. I want you to start with I am. Then, whatever your career is, if you want to be a neurosurgeon, and maybe you have 1 billion obstacles in your path, lack of money, lack of whatever it is, I want you to get on the internet and find ways to learn about being a neurosurgeon. Get books. Find out if there are government in the United States or around the globe, government grants and or loans to help you to start your basic college courses. And if you dropped out of school, I want you to start by getting free classes or getting the money to go back to school for your general equivalency diploma or GED. And then I want you to then find access to books or however you would learn. And I want you to read 1 paragraph a day, minimum. If you want to be a writer, I want you to write every single day. I want you to write 1 paragraph. And you can go further. If you want to go to 1 chapter, you can go further. But I want you to do a minimum of 1 paragraph a day. If you want to be a songwriter, I want you to write 1, which would be the equivalent of 1 paragraph a day. If you want to be an attorney, I want you to read something or watch a video or however else it gets into your brain, the equivalent of 1 paragraph a day. And I want you to do this every single day for the rest of your life. I want you to do this, and you must do this when the children aren't giving you a moment of the time in the day, but they finally go to bed. And normally you might go online, you might go to a social media website, you might go and watch videos. Whatever it is you do, I want you to sacrifice temporarily, and I want you to get that paragraph or whatever it is that will move you forward daily. Get it done. Don't let any obstacles stop you. Now, there's going to be times when you're going to be extraordinarily depressed. It's going to happen. Somebody's going to say something to you. You're going to feel all kinds of terrible thoughts. And I want you to fight through that. And I want you to say to yourself, my mission, my dream, my goal is too important for me to allow even my own emotions to stop me. And when you do that, and you take that first step, then if I ask you to take and write 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, or an entire chapter, you will get there. One of the things I've noticed with motivational speakers is that they are very good at motivating, but many of them have so many roadblocks within them that a person listens to them and can actually become demotivated. And I'll give you a perfect example. One of the most famous motivational speakers speaks about how you must read books every day. That doesn't sound hard. And in fact, it isn't. You can read a little bit every day. But then he goes on to say, you have to find the right group of people and upgrade your relationships. And you have to find the right kind of people and find like-minded people and go to webinars or listen to webinars and go to seminars and take the money that you have and invest it in going to seminars, learning what you don't know, hanging and learning from the people who have been successful in what you want to do. And I agree with all of what they're saying. But the reality is that many of the times that acts as a demotivational trigger because many of us may not have the knowledge of how to find that next group of friends. We may not have the knowledge at that time. You may not, I may not where we can go to these organizations, or there may be a caveat where you have to come up with, $20, $50, $100, $1,000, $10,000, and they may be an obstacle. And if I am working to motivate you, but I am telling you to do things that are going to block you, that are going to be a roadblock, and may end up demotivating you. But if I say to you, if you want to be a writer, write 1 paragraph a day. Yes, it may be very hard emotionally, and to come up with something may be very hard, but that is easier, and it is possible to do. Like Les Brown says, it's possible. You can do that. But if I say to you, you have to do one paragraph a day, and then you need to contact the Writers Guild of America or the Writers Guild of whatever nation you're in, that presents an issue for a variety of reasons. Not everyone has the access. I was listening to one of our motivational speakers that I listened to. He actually said, if you are a poor person, a poor man or woman, and you have access, and you know that somebody's wealthy and they're succeeding in what you want to do, save your money and take them to a steak dinner or a 9-course dinner. Actually said this, a 9-course dinner. Put out the $100 or $200 or whatever it is and take notes. Now that's a very great idea. You can learn a lot if you take the notes. And if you ask them, is it okay to record what they say? That'd be perfect, whether you do it on video or audio. If they're okay with that, since you're buying them a steak dinner or whatever it is, that's great. But again, if you don't have the ability to do that financially, and you're hearing him say that, that can act as a demotivation, and it can actually depress you. So even though I like a lot of these motivational speakers, and I'm not saying these things to procrastinate, to help you to procrastinate. I'm not saying this to help me to procrastinate. But I'm saying to you is this. If I give you tasks that seem impossible, even though they are possible, what happens is you're going to look at that and you're going to think, you're out of your mind. So I agree with what they're saying. And I do believe you just got to get up and fight through your emotional restraints. You got to get up and you got to say, hey, I don't care what the world says. I am the one in charge of my life. I agree with them. You got to fight. You got to be willing to legally, peacefully, ethically, and financially fight for your life. And you've got to be so tough that the United States Marines looks to you and says, guess what? I wouldn't want to mess with this hombre or this person. I agree with that. And you got to have passion, and you got to be able to scream, and you got to be able to yell, I am somebody, or even louder. But you also have to be able to feel you can accomplish it. So my hope is that you will listen to this video, and my recommendation is whatever it is you want to be, do a little bit every day. I want you to start writing the things down that you do. And if you have people in your life like I do that are roadblocks because they don't want to take notes, or they're roadblocks because they just don't believe it, or they think it's useless, or whatever it is. You may love that person, but if they're a roadblock, you have got to stress to them that you can no longer be my roadblock, because if you continue to be my roadblock, you're either going to have to change or I'm going to have to leave you. You have to put that through to their head, because if they are doing that to you, they are hurting you, they are hurting themselves, and they are hurting both of your futures. Now, or your whole family could be doing that. Now, that doesn't mean you abandon them, but you've got to fight for your dream. And when your family or your friends try to put you down, you got to be like, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, mom. Excuse me, dad. Excuse me, John. Excuse me, Sandra. Whatever, whoever it is. You have to say, no, sir. No, ma'am. You're not doing this to me. Not this time. And then you can do it with love. First, you got to be firm. You got to be firm. You got to say, no, sir. No, ma'am. You got to get that fire in there. Oh, yeah. You got to fight as if you were in a boxing match or MMA or a UFC match. You got to fight legally and peacefully. Don't hit nobody. Don't hit anybody. But you got to be rough. When they get in your face, you say, no, ma'am. No, sir. And then you can explain to them, this is my mission. This is my passion. This is my dream. And when we accomplish this, if you will work with me, we will be in a place we have never been in our entire life. Maybe you have been poor all your entire life. You've been poor. And when I say poor, I mean so poor you can't even afford to really go to a dollar store. Maybe you've been there. Well, I'm here to tell you it's possible to become a multi-millionaire. No longer can you ever say, I'll never be that millionaire. You can't say that to yourself. Because if you do, your subconscious hears that and you're like, well, he won't ever be. She won't ever be. I don't want you to ever say that. I want you to say, I am a millionaire. And then I want you to take an action every day. If you're a writer, 1 paragraph a day. If you're a talk show host, every single day, come up with something that you can speak about in case your guest doesn't show up. Come up with interesting things. Get on the internet, go to a library, go wherever you have to do whatever you have to do to get information and make it entertaining. If you want to be the best shoe salesman, you train. And you train harder than anybody in your company. It's possible. I want to leave you with this. Les Brown was considered educable retarded, or basically mentally retarded. And most of his childhood was extreme poverty. His mother that adopted him could not even afford to feed her own children that she adopted. So she was working as a maid or housekeeper, whatever you want to call it now. And literally they had to eat leftover food every day. But they called Les the retarded one, Les Brown. Extremely poor and called retarded. And you can learn from Les his story. But this is what I want you to know. He didn't have a penny to his name for many, many years. And he struggled for many, many years. He'd been fired a lot, been put down. But today, in 2017, Les Brown is worth at least $61 million. So if I tell you, do one thing a day, every day, and that it's possible, remember, it's possible. I'll leave you with this. No matter what you don't do or what you do, but you will forevermore be doing what you need to do because you matter. And I want to leave you with this. Remember that you and humanity and all forms of life really does matter.